早安，早安！开场一样，希望我们直播欢迎点赞、订阅、开启小铃铛，然后起来直播上面聊天哦。今天要继续图拉真的故事了，各位。那图拉真应该是罗马人，那我们就来看一下罗马的科技树。第一个是建筑费用减10%，但是建塔、城墙跟世界奇观没有。剑士的攻击速度提升50%，所以民兵系的这个攻击速度会增加。 再是重弩跟破城者的这个射程会加1，然后牧师的治疗速度也有提升50%。OK， 看一下这些这个军事建筑，军营是全满的。等一下主力应该也会是我们的军团兵，攻速增加。策略场的话呢，基本上很灾难了，没有，只有这个前面2个层级的步工兵，后面的马弓跟这个战车工兵也都没有，不强。 但是工程器是全满的，包括最强的头车跟这个弩炮也都有，马厩很 OK 哦，刀轮战车也有。 应该说只有刀人战车了，学院也有这个希腊步兵系。那兵工厂是全满的，步兵3房也都步兵的这个远房也都有给。谷仓的部分的话，塔只有到警卫塔，可能因为考量到建塔的费用太便宜了，如果可以升级到后面会太厉害。那4级的话，其实是有完整的3级射的。政府中心的话有工程学哦，所以我们的工程武器会有这个加2攻之外，再额外加1攻，加1射程。那没有征兵技术，蛮可惜的，也没有炼金术。 所以这个弩炮的攻击力可能会少1，因为我们这次会玩军营的这个军团兵嘛，就可以使用到这个功能。后勤学，军营的人口会少1半。圣殿的话少了占星术跟冥思信仰，其实是2个很重要的科技啊。所以其实补血速度增加，这个约略可以取代占星术的补血治疗效果。然后海战的话 OK 哦，3级全满的射船跟全满的工程船，但是没有火船。但是火船我们已经分析过了嘛，它蛮烂的，因为它没有远防。第一关。 视街与军团。
My grandfather once told me of the age of Augustus, the emperor who found Rome a city of brick and left it one of marble. Guided by his virtue and prudence, Augustus's empire reached new bounds, a vast constellation of cities spanning the Mediterranean and beyond. Its prosperity and happiness were the envy of an otherwise bitter, cruel world. 7 decades, 10 emperors and countless civil wars later, that golden age is a distant memory. Marred by corruption, the constellation that once lit the world is now little more than a faint and fraudulent zodiac. Yet there are those among us who still believe in Rome. In my youth, I followed my father's and grandfather's footsteps into the legions. 20 years later, I am Marcus Ulpius Traianus, commander of the 7th Legion and a veteran of Emperor Domitian's northern wars. The aristocrats of the Senate despise Domitian for his unwillingness to bend to their whims, but he treats his legions well. Now, he calls on us to quash the rebellion of one Saturninus, a provincial governor styling himself emperor. A lifelong military man, I know all too well that soldiers' blood is the currency of rich men's power plays. But when Rome calls, I must go. I will march north to see that this civil war ends before it has even begun.
要打败叛军突袭者或这个萨图尔尼鲁斯，蓝色或青色。图密3不能被打败，这个紫色，青铜50。 罗马建塔便宜，可以用来巩固防御。只要击败2个对手其中1个就好了。不要忘记图密战。行，派遣军队招募分布在地图各地的罗马军团，不但可以提升军力，也可以提供急需的升级项目。OK， 控制一个营地跟少量的部队，准备随时支援皇帝，并清除突袭者。紫色有剑兵跟工兵部队，控制西北部。几支罗马军团散布在各处，等待我的侵蚀。青色是这个行省的总督，有步兵跟精兵单位。 然后他还有派遣突袭者，数量多，分布广，装备差。
Treachery and madness threaten Rome. Can I count on you to save her, Trajan? These lands are awash with rebel scum. Clean them out. and rally the nearby legions to crush this traitor. The rebels are crushed. Now the traitor, Saturninus, will be forced to surrender.
We Romans say that fortune favors the bold, but how does it decide between two valiant men? The question puzzled me as my men dragged Saturninus before our merciless emperor. I wonder what his last thoughts were. Did he regret not anticipating that my legions would reach the front in time? Did he curse fortune for the unprecedented January thaw that prevented his German allies from crossing the Rhine? It matters not. The answer died with him. But our emperor's anger endured. From the day of his coronation, Domitian had been a firm and bold ruler. But the Senate despised this friend of the legionary and the commoner. When Domitian's latent paranoia began to consume him, his wrath engulfed the empire like a raging wildfire. Countless arrests followed in the wake of the war. Senators who had opposed him were executed like common criminals. When the court could bear it no more, the emperor was assassinated.
第二关了，罗马生育。
Domitian's successor was a good man, but a poor ruler. Nevertheless, he shared my loyalty to Rome and sought to reverse the damage that Domitian's folly had done. With no sons to pass the mantle to, Emperor Nerva named me as his heir before striding on into the afterlife after 2 short years on the throne. The immense honor of steering the might of Rome is matched only by the weight of its responsibility. I am a general, not a senator. My mind is built for the straightforwardness of the battlefield, not the intricacies of politics. I can, and I must, learn to be a politician. But in the meanwhile, I should play to my strengths. The divided Roman people need a common enemy, and I will give them that. North of the Danube lies Dacia, a barbarous kingdom, but one also rich in gold and silver. Its wily king Decabalus once played Domitian for a fool, negotiating an unfavorable treaty that tarnished Roman imperial repute. My loyal cousin Hadrian will join me on this campaign and learn from my example. I will unite the Roman people, take vengeance on a haughty foe, and enrich our struggling economy all in one fell swoop.
打败德塞巴鲁斯，绿色，50人口，无法使用许多单位，建筑跟技术要从敌人手中夺取。军令跟哈德良是分开的，但是彼此依存。我掠夺到的资源会使他库存增加，他研究的技术会改善我的军队。攻击要迅速且果断，拖延太久的话，他们有优势的数量跟补给。后勤技术可以把军营人口减半，派出加倍的建设人口，率领军队从西南方进入。哈德良从东南方攻击。 有很多的达契亚村庄散落着，有丰富的资源跟补给的防御很弱。巴鲁斯在北部控制要塞，他开始会全力对抗阿德良，但如果我们攻击太猛烈，他会攻击我们。于是分散在各地。军队。
I will hold the line in the east, but you must rob the enemy's will to fight before I am overwhelmed. Keep our armies supplied with loot, and my technicians will improve our weaponry. The Cabalus is nowhere to be found, but we have captured his sister in this fortress. Now he will surely surrender.
Peace between Dacia and Rome was the story of one man's panic and another's bluff. As Decabalus saw my legions thrust into his realm and capture his sister, he must have feared that the end was near. Yet my imperious tone and stern demands during the negotiations were a mere facade. With only a few legions on the front, I knew in my heart that I lacked the strength to overthrow Dicabolus today. But he did not. For now, the con man has been beaten at his own game. But I know better than to trust a cornered wolf. As we march home after a draining campaign, I have tasked my best architects with building a bridge across the Danube into Dacia. If Dicabolus shows even a hint of treachery, my legions will now have a direct route to his front door.
第3关，大动过去了，人头落地。
A tiger does not change its stripes. No sooner was I home than the Dacian king began to plot against me, his rightful overlord. I bided my time, preparing my forces and learning the other side of rulership. Being a friend to the Senate and the people of Rome. Yet when news spread of a hostile alliance beyond the Danube, I kept a watchful eye on Dacia. And when my guards caught would-be assassins sent forth by the Dacian king, I knew to expect war at any moment. This campaign will be different from the last. The Dacians know they cannot face Hadrian and I in the field, so they will hide in their mountain fortresses, hoping for us to tire and leave. Amateurs speak of strategy and tactics, while professionals look to logistics. Dacia will not be conquered by a decisive battle. It will be conquered because Hadrian and I can sustain 14 legions and strip the Dacian forces of their supplies. Dicabolus, my false friend. Heads will roll.
又要打败德塞巴鲁斯了。铁器时代75人口，他的要塞很强大，切断他的补给。强攻的时候必须带上大量的工程器械。我和敌人之间有贸易来赚取资金，我跟哈德良也应该这么做。罗马军团是游戏中最精良的单位之一，多培育军团人数。好，建立营地，想从西南方围攻他。哈德良从东南方进攻。乡村大部分废弃，但是有些隐藏利益，等下去逛一下。德塞巴鲁斯在中间有一个要塞，橘色军队从北面增援。
Shall slither north of the Danube no more. Vengeance and Dacia shall be ours.
你也是要看看萨基亚从一个输过一下。我们没有找到他的宝藏
To the onlookers that had gathered, I appeared to take my success modestly, acting like I had been there before. But inside, my heart swelled with pride as I rode through the gates of Rome in triumph. To be loved by one is gratifying enough. To be loved by thousands is indescribable. The mob roared as Dicabolus's head was thrown to the dogs, commencing over 100 days of celebratory festivals and gladiatorial games. Senators greeted me with awe and respect that I knew for once to be genuine. Men of all ranks chanted my name. The vast Dacian treasure and its plentiful gold mines will offer riches beyond Rome's wildest dreams. My mind races with thoughts of the greatness that I, and more importantly, Rome, can achieve with such wealth. Still, the age-old maxim echoes through my head. Look behind you. Remember, you are just a man.
好，第4关，速递。
Many past emperors buckled under the weight of ruling such a large empire because they tried to micromanage it all. From them I have learned a crucial lesson. In Rome, to govern is to delegate. Fortitude, ambition, and resolve paved the road to the imperial palace, but it is honor, diligence, and respect that keeps one there. My people respect and care for me, because I do the same for them. Yet above all, I hold the virtue and dignity of Rome herself most dear. Her prestige grew once more when I incorporated Nabatea as her newest province, but recently came under attack from a predictable direction. For decades, an uneasy peace between Rome and rival Parthia was hallowed by joint influence over Armenia, a state that served as little more than a buffer to diffuse tensions. Now, the Parthian king, Osroes, has broken this agreement and seized the land for his own. The Parthian army is formidable, but I did not become emperor by building shields after arrows were shot my way. The frontier legions are clamoring for action, and it is about time that we put our nefarious eastern neighbor in its place.
这个目标是要打败这个亚美尼亚，还有安息帝国，应该是波斯吧。铁器75人口，要赶快打败阿美尼亚，不然哈德良会不行。可用资源有限的时候，专注于少数部队。从属国纳巴泰，黄色，行，保护公共器械。我们率领军队从北面进攻亚美尼亚，奥德良从西面进攻。纳巴泰在西南部负责补给。 亚美尼亚在中间跟东北部，安息帝国在南部跟东南部。OK， 哎，没村哦！靠，没村哦！哦，我怎么没村？指定弹道学也不会有用。
Despite my hostility towards Parthia, it pains me to fight Osroes. His skill as a commander would be the envy of any leader. Yet the discord tormenting his realm overshadows his talents. As he struggles in vain to stave off my invasion, he does so with one hand tied behind his back. I see much of myself in him, and he offers a haunting glimpse into an alternate reality where I was born in the wrong place at the wrong time. Seizing Armenia was an ambitious move. One could argue that it was an overstep. But did I not do the same from another point of view, when I took Dacia and Nabatea? I am no warmonger, and I have never loved it. But I cannot lie. On the battlefield, the anxieties of governance fade into the shadows as the simplicities of present survival come to the fore. Life just makes sense out here. And that is a notion that terrifies me. Am I a hero or a monster? A genius or a madman? Sometimes the sole difference is success.
第5关应该最后一关吧。 水中之血，出花。
The pages of history are littered with brilliant victors and foolish losers. But foolish victors and brilliant losers are in much more exclusive company. I am not so arrogant as to call myself brilliant. Others can do that for me if they deem it just. But I am no fool. And my instincts have been sharpened by decades of fighting. When a shark smells blood in the water, it attacks mercilessly. When news reached me of the civil war in Parthia, I resolved to do the same. A pang of pity for Osroes struck me as I recalled the strife of my youth. But now that fortune has given me a chance to put a decisive end to an age-old rivalry, I cannot hesitate. Rome knows 2 great seas today, but tomorrow it will know a 3rd. We will seize Ctesiphon, the jewel of Parthia, and stride onwards in the footsteps of Alexander until my legions glimpse the ocean. If I succeed, I hope that history will remember Osrhoes as a brilliant loser. But how will I be remembered? How will Hadrian? How will Rome?
打败泰西风蓝色铁器时代100人口，起初无法使用某些建筑，夺取美索不达米亚领地。罗马建筑很便宜，解锁更多军事建筑后别犹豫，马上开始建造前线基地。好，在底格里斯河跟幼发拉底河上建造船只，找到散布的游牧民族就加入我们的部队。红色率领军队沿着幼发拉底河向西，从西面向泰西风进攻。阿德昂北面紫色，几个聚落灰色在2个沿岸，此地有很多安息帝国军队守卫青色。首都泰西风蓝色在东南部，还有富饶的查拉克斯港黄色。
I will lead my forces down the Tigris, Emperor. We shall meet by the sea. The Parthian capital is yours, Emperor. I stand awed in the presence of the 2nd Alexander.
Someday, parents will tell children of the age of Trajan, the emperor who found Rome a city of marble and left it one of gold. Ironic, then, that I have no children of my own to tell this tale. I have a loving wife, but in truth, Rome herself has always been the love of my life. Perhaps the gods, in their infinite wisdom, deemed the care of children too much for a man who chose an entire empire as his family. Perhaps, as I lie on my deathbed, they are indirectly showing me the way. For years, Rome suffered under the yoke of cruel emperors with no merit other than their bloodline. Like Nerva, I will now choose my successor by merit. And what better choice than Hadrian, the loyal man who walked in my footsteps, learned from my example, and did it all without a single treacherous thought. The afterlife is timeless, immaterial, and boundless. I gaze towards the men tending my funeral pyre and hear them now call me a god. I look out over the forum that I build, the carved column that tells my story, and the city that is an empire's beating heart. I smile, knowing that I have left these people a better Rome than the one that I found. Yet, at the same time, doubt and dread gnaw at me. Now that I have raised the bar, others will try and match it, and their vain ambition, conceit, and impossible expectations could drag Rome towards the same familiar decline from which I rescued it. Was I Rome's savior? Or its doom?
大家拜拜。